Station high flow. With the WeatherTRAK system, after your flow sensor is correctly installed and accurately programmed, you'll want to run the Learn Flow test. And with the WeatherTRAK Learn Flow test, you can either run all stations sequentially at the same time or each station individually to find the assigned station flow value for each station. In other words, the WeatherTRAK Learn Flow test determines how many gallons per minute to expect out of each station during normal irrigation. Once the Learn Flow test is complete, you can see the results on the WeatherTRAK.net program page under your station flow settings, where you'll be able to see the time and date that we learned the station flow value and what the ASF for each station is. The tricky part of understanding this assigned station flow value is that this value reflects that moment in time, but based on natural fluctuations in pressure, a station's flow value might be slightly different every time the system runs. To account for these fluctuations and avoid false station high flow alerts, the WeatherTRAK applies the high flow offset or adds a certain percentage above the assigned station flow rate to calculate the station high flow threshold. In this example, the station high flow offset is set to 20%. So here on station 4, where the learned flow value is 33.7 gallons per minute, the station high flow threshold is set to 40.4 gallons per minute. And a station high flow alert is created when the controller detects a measured flow that exceeds that station high flow threshold. In other words, your assigned station flow value should run right through the expected irrigation flow range. Then with the station high flow offset, we buy a certain amount of room to account for natural fluctuations in volume and pressure. Then when your station begins to irrigate, we'll monitor the measured usage for that station, and if that usage ever exceeds the station high flow threshold, the station high flow alert will be raised, and that station will shut down and move on to the next station in sequence. The most common station high flow scenario is that there's a break in your irrigation system. Maybe your irrigation heads have broken. Maybe your lateral piping has given way. But there's something going on with that station that has driven up the measured flow value or increased the amount of water that that station is using. A less common station high flow scenario is that during irrigation, one of the previous irrigation valves stuck on while it was irrigating, meaning the controller stopped delivering electricity, so the controller thinks that that station turned off, but for whatever reason, that valve is slow to close and continues to irrigate. When this happens, the next station in sequence turns on and the controller is measuring usage for both of those stations. If this condition continues through the 3-minute delay, then the controller will be showing the measured usage for both of these stations, even though it thinks only one is running, which will almost always cause a station high flow alert. You can see the telltale signs of a stuck valve when you look at your alert notification and you see 3 station high flow alerts that were created 3 minutes apart. That generally means that a valve stuck on, driving up the usage for the 3 valves that followed. And the final common station high flow scenario is if your station high flow threshold is set too low. Troubleshooting station high flow alerts almost always requires a trip out to the site. When we get there, we want to find and fix any irrigation system breaks that might be causing these alerts. And we want to test our valves to find out which ones might be getting stuck during irrigation. When testing your system, if you have a station that prompted a station high flow alert, but it passes inspection and nothing is broken, this can be an indication that you have an incorrect station high flow setting. If you've recently renovated this station by adding heads or changing nozzles, these types of changes can change the flow rate of a station, and I recommend relearning the flow for this station. However, if you've recently programmed that controller and you're getting station high flow alerts that are just outside of the station threshold, this can often be attributed to that natural fluctuation in volume and pressure that happens in the normal life of an irrigation system. So if you get a station high flow alert that fits this description, first, go out and verify that nothing is broken. Once your system passes inspection and we know that it's a programming issue, take that alert notification to the program page of your WeatherTRAK.net account. In your alert notification, you'll find the value of the measured flow that prompted this alert. And here in the station flow section, take that value and plug it in as your user-defined assigned station flow value. Doing this will tell the program what to expect during normal irrigation and avoid having this alert raise again without an actual system break. For more tips and troubleshooting your station high flow alerts, you can always call the HydroPoint customer service team.